2, 1, go. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Wednesday. That means it's Xbox Nation or anti-Xbox Nation, depending on whose side you're on. But I always think that we like to bring fair and balanced reports to everybody in the gaming world. Fearmonger to some, savior to others, pony leg breaker extraordinaire, albino rhino. I'm a man of many names, but at the end of the day, man, I'm just a gamer, and I've got some strong opinions or whatever. So as you guys are sort of filling in here, please share it out. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. I'd appreciate it. And let's get some butts in the seats. It's going to be a really good show. I love it when news breaks on Xbox Nation Day. Mooch, what do you think about that, man? Am I lucky or what?
Well, I'll tell you, boy, this is like rolling sevens at the crap table. I don't know. This is unbelievable for you, baby. Right? Woo! Give me sevens. I got to be honest with you, this is good for you, buddy. It's going to be a great show. So I'm excited to see what the panel's got to say and how we kind of even out what we were saying just a few years ago up till today. The news has drastically changed as of this afternoon.
Absolutely, it has. And now I have to inform everybody, Predator, he's got he's dealing with an illness, so he's out, and Xbot had something come up, so he's not going to be here. They'll be back next week. We wish them well. So we I feel bad for one particular member who is here today, but we'll get into some other introductions. We got Knox. He's back. What's going on, Knox?
Chilling, man. I'm over here. I'm a little under the weather myself, man. Was able to.
Wow. A lot of people sick.
Yeah. Something's going around. I don't know, man. It's probably the back to school bug or something, man.
Yeah,
gotta
man.
be. Yeah, So, man, I was able to switch my shift, so I'll do my 11 to 11 and not a 7 to 7. So I was able to make it today. I do got a skedaddle at 10 on the dot though to get to work.
That's fine, man. I'll make sure to get us out of here on the dot. Don't worry, man. We appreciate you being here. And we also got the lone Xbot here. Dirt. What's going on, Dirt?
Hey, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Hey, Crap, man, you have a great podcast, and J-Dub's an excellent guy, and Moose is the greatest, man. I just want to get you guys.
I agree. I completely agree. That was a better intro than Crap gave me. Thanks, Dirt.
We appreciate you being here. And last but not least, we've got J-Dubs here. What's going on, Jay? How's it going, man?
What's going on, everybody? Y'all know who I am. The Xerxes of PlayStation is in the house, and I'm ready to rumble.
Oh, heck yeah, man. You know what? I've been waiting for this all day. I honestly, man, and you know what? Thanks to Sully for being here and running this thing for me again. Sully, man, you're the man, dude. I appreciate you like no other, man. You're the man. I'm giving you a thumbs up right now. Just so you know, you can't see it, but it's there, brother. I appreciate you. So I want to talk a little bit about, obviously, all this stuff. And as you all come in and join, please like and share this out. Monthly active users. Okay, let's talk about this. Monthly active users is something that Microsoft would use to discuss how well their console business was going. Now, let me go back to Phil Spencer a few years ago in 2016. So 3 years ago, speaking at a keynote event, speaker said monthly active users, or MAUs, are a bigger indicator of performance. Switching to the metric away from sales also wasn't the company's way of, quote unquote, hiding something, as Spencer feels the company is more, quote unquote, exposed by picking a number that shows how many people are using our platform publicly. The number of people in the last 30 days that have engaged with an Xbox Live game on either Windows or Xbox 360 or Xbox One is the critical factor for our team to gauge our success, because that's what our partners want, he said. Our partners and gamers, they want the largest collection of active gamers who are buying and playing games. That is the health metrics of any service that you want to talk about. What's your monthly active users in the space? It's not how many consoles I sell. If I sold a console 2 years ago and now it's in the closet collecting dust, that's not good for the gamers. Using such figures is admittedly a risk, he said, because the number of monthly active users can potentially slide as the audience becomes bored, or if Xbox Live services experience issues, which obviously, as you guys know, we've had a lot of them this month. He says that's not great for our monthly active user count, he said. That directly hits us. So going in the long stretch without having great games on our platform, this is 3 years ago, mind you, that will hit our monthly active users. That will negatively impact our monthly active users. So again, they're not going to be using this metric anymore. And then let me see, where is this, if I can find it? Okay, per Windows Central, They say, ever since the Xbox One failed to take off in comparison to the PlayStation 4, Microsoft has stopped reporting sales figures for its hardware and even its software. Now it seems like the company will only disclose growth going forward. However, this might be due to the fact that it's focusing on Xbox Game Pass. The fact that Xbox Game Pass exists and it allows many gamers to play new releases with the subscription means that software sales will, quote unquote, definitely take a hit. Hopefully, they'll be offset by revenue earned in the subscription service. So it's no longer going to include gaming revenue, so nothing gaming related is going to be reported, or monthly active users in their earning reports. They're going to instead they're going to be reporting on Xbox content and services revenue, which includes subscriptions and their cloud lumped together. So going forward, this is a huge change for Microsoft and how they report things. Again, Phil Spencer just a few years ago, hey, now what's up? What's up with that? Somebody, I would love to know.
Hey, I want to go last. Go ahead.
Okay. As the lone Xbox guy on this panel today, first I have a question. Now, I'm more of a blue collar guy, so Mooch, Crap, whoever, J-Dub, you guys are more white collar guys. Let me know how this affects me personally as a gamer. How does it negatively affect me?
Okay, well, I think obviously one of the first things it does is it hides the amount of players that you're going to be able to play against. It also could look like they're hiding something from players and making players not want to get into the platform or believe in the platform. So I believe I saw an analyst talking about the Gears numbers or whatever, and he was trying to spin it a little bit positively, but he says if the numbers seem like they're low, people might wait on buying it and maybe buy it at a discount or not buy it at all because they feel like it could be a flawed game. So I feel like it's the same way with consoles, right? When you think about consoles and you look at, say, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, early on in the generation, people were picking the PS4 because that was the cool console or whatever. You didn't want to get stuck with that dirty old Xbox One because they were trying to steal your rights as a gamer, right? So again, that stuff can negatively impact people's feelings towards your product. I feel like them switching to a third metric in 4 years is not a good thing. Okay. And I also feel like this is something that a lot of people aren't going to realize. And I'll spin a little bit of knowledge on people. Okay. So in my opinion, anyway, they're going to have a situation where their monthly active users are going to significantly drop. This was an article from 3 years ago that I was talking about where Phil Spencer's like, if we don't have a big game come out, our numbers are going to drop. And they don't have another AAA game coming out for 15 months. Their next big AAA game is Halo Infinite, and that's the start of next generation, not even this. So there's a couple of sad facts that I'm going to throw at everybody, and then you guys can let me know how you feel on this. The Xbox One X, the most powerful console ever, came out in 2017, and the last AAA exclusive for it is Gears of War 5 in 2019. That, to me, is very, very sad indeed. Okay, we still got over a year and a half with this thing. And the fact that we're not going to see another AAA game is very sad, and I think a clear example of what's wrong with Microsoft. The other thing is you can't, like, they're saying this is the future. We're going after these 2 billion gamers, monthly active users are what we care about. We want to get all these users, but then they're saying, well, we can't exactly lie to our investors because it's against the law. So what can we do? We can only talk about this or that or the other thing. So they're basically trying to switch it up to disclose as little information as possible. They keep hiding and hiding and hiding. Well, and I don't think that's going to work out well for them. I think it's going to scare people away from the platform. So that's how it could hurt you, Dirt. And it's going to scare people off from their games. Look at Gears of War 5, which we're going to get into a little bit as well. Only 3 million quote unquote players for their best and biggest release in 4 years when they were basically giving this game away on a box of Pop-Tarts. Okay. Like, imagine this. If Sony were to say, and I know I'm talking a lot, like I said, I've been thinking about this shit all damn day. Imagine if Sony were like, God of War, we're going to launch God of War on PC and PlayStation for $1 or buy a box of Pop-Tarts and play it. How many millions do you think we're going to play that in the first week? I can tell you it'd be a lot more players than 3 million. So the fact that a game as big as Gears of War, and that leads into a whole list of other problems as far as I can see, is the fact that a lot of people I'm saying Game Pass is a good value, but but a lot of people look at it as a B movie type value, right? And you lump a big good game like Gears of War in it with the likes of Crackdown and State of Decay. Sorry, Sully. And that's not going to be, and a lot of people look at it as just a junk place, like where the place they put their junk. I felt bad for the Coalition that they put so much time and effort into a very good game, and it basically gets lumped in with the other crappy games that are in Game Pass from Microsoft themselves. Not saying there's not good games in Game Pass, because there have been some, but the games that usually go in there are the games that sell like crap. Let's be real, okay? The Metros, the Jump Forces, the Tomb Raiders. This newest Tomb Raider apparently sold piss poor. So the games that are going in there are games that really sell like crap, and then Xbox exclusives. So to me, there's this whole problem where like people are seeing it as sort of like this value proposition, but not maybe, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I see it too. So again, and Mooch will tell you this too, because Mooch hasn't finished Gears of War 5. Neither have I. And I might not ever go back to it because there were so many problems in the beginning of it. And now it's just like I moved on to other things. I don't feel that need, that pull to bring me back. And maybe that's the me problem, but I have to disclose that I've always hated free-to-play games and cheaper games because I don't feel as connected to those or as invested in those because, quite frankly, I didn't put any money into them. And so Gears has kind of have that to me. It's like this franchise that I've loved for so many years, but I don't feel that connection to it anymore. And it almost feels like a lesser thing because of what they're doing, like a lesser thing. So Mooch, I don't know. I would love to hear some of your thoughts because I'm rambling here. And I know, but I told you I had so much to talk about. And, you know, like I'm not even close to being done. So let me know what do you think?
Well, there's a couple of different avenues here, okay? And I think that, you know, I'm reading what the chat's saying, and I respect the chat. I really do. And Dirt's question that he put a shield up and bounced the question back to you, right? And
I hear it.
Why should I be worried? It's not about why you should be worried. And no, it's not about just necessarily why is 3 million bad. I think what you have to kind of look at when you're looking at what's happening in the news that's breaking today is why is Microsoft the only one that keeps changing the rules? You know, Sony doesn't have a problem, right? Sony doesn't have a problem reporting their numbers. Nintendo doesn't have a problem reporting their numbers.
Even when they just start, Nintendo doesn't have a chance. They're like, we got 12 million.
Is this a Microsoft thing or is it an Xbox thing? Is Microsoft is this their change or is this just for Xbox? Or is it Microsoft as a company? This is their new rule.
Well, again, this is something I've said a lot, Dirt. You probably saw me on Twitter a lot. I'm like, you can't fit a square peg into a round hole. I feel like Microsoft is trying to force everything into subscription-based model.
Well, here's the thing, though.
It doesn't work for everything.
They said they want to go this route of user base, right? And that's fine. So you want to do active users. Finally, after a couple of years, we all kind of get the warm, fuzzy feeling that's the direction they're going in. So then the other day when we find out that in the UK, they only sold 23,000 physical sales, right? Everybody goes, well, those numbers are impacted because of Game Pass and digital purchases. So we sit there and we go, okay, fine. So now we're sitting there and we're like, okay, let's roll with that. So how many people are on the users list that you got? Well, now we're not telling you that. And it's like, well, you know, I mean, where are we starting to, where do we look for these analytics? And it's like, it's not about, first of all, this is a gaming talk show. I have to say that all the time because people are like, why are we talking about this? Well, what are we supposed to talk about? This is the news. Like, you know, this is the news. So, I mean, I got to be honest with you. It's an interesting statistic. If I was Microsoft, I would want to immediately report the amount of users, which they did with the 3 million. But the thing about 3 million that's low is,
well, they did that a couple days before. Are they going to do that anymore? Like
they might not.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. But here's my point with the three. A lot of people in the chat are saying, "Why is 3 million bad?" Again, let's just put it this way: it's not bad, but you have to look at the numbers as a whole. If there's 40 million Xbox Ones in the wild, okay, roughly, and I think I'm being generous. If there's 40 million out there, let's say 10 million people have Xbox Game Pass. Then there's 100 million PCs out there, or 50 million PCs, or 20 million PCs. You guys come up with a number. Whatever
so
number
you're saying
you want.
There's 140 million opportunities to play the game, and
whatever.
And they basically gave it away, and only 3 million did.
Hear me
and
out.
That's not even counting people that game share. Like I had the game, but my brother got it for free as well and can play it because we game share. So how many people game share? You're looking at probably
that's what I'm trying to say.
Well under
here.
2 million people in Game Pass probably played the game.
Right. And that's when you also say active user, you know, a lot of people are like, that's a lot of people playing. That's not them necessarily playing. You do have to understand what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't just sit there and tell me 3 million's a good number. That's fine. I'll go there with you. But then you also have to understand that doesn't mean 3 million people are playing concurrently as we speak.
Yeah.
Right. That means 3 million people stop by, press the A button. Some played it in its entirety. Some got halfway through Act 1 or Chapter 1 or Act 1 and was like, this is it for me. You know, so I mean, it's not like all those people are playing the game, and a lot of those people paid 99 cents.
Or less.
And I mean, right, or less in the case if they're sharing it, if they're game sharing. So, I mean, my point being here is that the money and I think J-Dubs has said this, I'll give Jay credit. Jay's always said this is not going to be something that is something that they can actually handle financially when you have $100 million budget for Halo, $50 to $75 million budget. You guys fill in the numbers. It doesn't matter.
No, supposedly Halo's a $500 million budget.
But listen, crap, you understand something. You can't start using drastic numbers. I'm going to be realistic, and I always give the audience the benefit of the doubt.
Well, if you don't think Gears cost 75 to 100 million between making and marketing,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, 100%.
I'm trying to say that. Those are the numbers that it cost for those particular games. Then you have a game like Devil May Cry, which the numbers came out and showed that they paid $19 million for the rights to that in Game Pass.
Yeah.
These types of numbers, okay, that are coming out of pocket. And don't get me wrong, Microsoft is an extremely wealthy company. I don't need to tell you guys that. You know that. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, if it's more money out of pocket than what's coming in, because now you're not getting any physical sales. You're not seeing the physical sales. Digital sales are questionable. We don't know what those are going to be. We'll never know. And now we don't know how many active users moving forward. So the point of the matter is how does this make, go back to Dirt. Dirt was like, how does this affect me? Dirt, at this point in time, it doesn't affect you. But if you start seeing less AAA games coming out of first party and a lot more games coming out that are AA quality coming out, that does affect you.
Okay, Moose, let me ask you this. Now, you're one of the smartest guys in this community, right? Now, you are a business guy. You know how businesses work, right? Obviously, you know you have to spend money to make money, right?
Absolutely.
I read something that Disney said they're spending up to $1 billion. What they're going to maybe lose $1 billion launching Disney Plus, right? Because they're already doing all this original content before the service is even started. All right. So, it's a long-term goal.
Dirt, I like where you're I actually really like that example. But the only thing is you have to turn around and look at also, I believe Disney bought the rights to Skywalker Ranch, okay, the whole kit and caboodle for $4 billion.
Right.
They made that back in the first half hour of episode 7.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that wasn't long term. That was like an hour and a half. My point being,
some things work faster than others, like Minecraft.
Well, this is going on for quite some time. Remember, Dirt, in 2013, they said they were going to put $1 billion in the first party games. Then, can somebody correct me if I'm wrong too? Right? They said they put $1 billion in the gaming back in 2013. Right? Remember that? So what I'm saying to you is that same investment that you're talking about with Disney Plus happened in 2013, and Xbox is not doing. They're selling very, very low console numbers month to month.
The difference with that is, Mooch, you know what it is, and that I'll tell Dirt this, right? The difference is that Disney's going to make that money back because they have the content that people want and desire and covet to bring those customers there.
You're right.
Microsoft does not have that. They
right now, but that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're investing in.
But it's been right now since like 2014.
No, it has to be right now.
Dirt, let me ask you. Let me ask you something real quick, Dirt. What would happen if Disney didn't have any new content for 15 months? How many people are going to stay subscribed to that?
Not many.
Exactly. And also, I want to point this out. Microsoft clearly doesn't care about their console sales. They clearly, obviously, right now, they don't care about their software sales. They're only talking about.
Is Disney giving away Is Disney giving away Disney Plus for $1 for 3 years?
Well, Moots, a lot of companies have free trials.
That's 30 days.
Have free trials, right? Right. So Microsoft has, okay, listen now. Crap. Now,
go ahead, man.
Disney doesn't have. I mean, if they didn't have content,
Dirt sweating, man. Right. He's under the lights.
No.
I hear you, man.
You're absolutely right, though. If they didn't have content, but what's the difference between making the movie and making the game? What does the TV show take? What, 2 or 3 months?
Yeah.
Games take years. So come on, you can't. I mean,
but check this out though, Dirt. Why people have been saying this to me a lot today, so I had a chance to think about this. People are like, "What did you want Microsoft to do? They didn't have the studios." And I'm thinking, hasn't this entire generation, the Killer Instinct studio was begging Microsoft to make a new Killer Instinct? Wasn't Insomniac Games begging to make a Sunset Overdrive 2? Wasn't Remedy begging to make an Alan Wake 2 or a Quantum Break 2? There's been opportunities there to get games. Microsoft just chose not to because for some reason they decided to stop content creation for over 3 years and cancel games and close studios. And that's the part where you look back at it and you go, well, how much longer do I really have to wait? Dirt.
It's been a bad generation.
Exactly. If we do go into next gen, right, and we have to wait another 15 months for another AAA banger, things are going to get much worse for Xbox before they get better. Like, you would figure we'd be over the hurdle, right, over the hump with getting games, and they can put all the third-party games they want in Game Pass. But at the end of the day, those are just multi-plats, okay? Like, and I was trying to tell people this. Exclusives shine, okay? Spider-Man on PS4. If that had been a multi-plat, it would have just been another Spider-Man game that would have had to been dumbed down so it can run on everything with average graphics. Instead, it really got a chance to shine on PlayStation's hardware because it was specifically built for that, okay? Like, Gears of War, now that it's on Steam, and what was the point? Like, at the end of the day, they put it on Steam and it's peaked at 10,000 units. Was it worth having taken the hit as being known as a console with no games to get 10,000 extra sales from Steam, which, by the way, they're under 3,000 active users on that game already? Like, was it worth it? Like, it ruins the games. It really takes away the shine and how good these games look. Like, to me, and it's not just something that's just to me, just look at it. Gears was a great franchise that people look forward to, and now it's like, you can say 3 million players, quote unquote, is fine, and it is, I guess, but this game was selling 3 million in its launch week in prior generation, right? Like, people look forward to this game. Now people are playing it as a novelty for $1 and then going on the Borderlands 3, which is level 20 something in Borderlands 3. Like, Gears 5 is already out of the top 10 on Xbox. You know, like, this is the stuff. It's like they devalued themselves so much.
This is what I want to understand, right? How in all of my gaming history, you know, ever since I started with the Atari 2600, I've never seen a company in a mid-generation decide that it wanted to change the standard that has been set before it's forever. We've always, in all these generations, we've always talked about the sales of hardware and the sales of software. Microsoft stopped that. Obviously, they stopped that mid-gen, or the first couple of years, they noticed they weren't getting the sales. So they changed that. Then monthly active users became that benchmark. All right, so fine. Then we started accepting that, right? And now they're changing that where they're not going to do it.
Because when the numbers dwindle, they want to change it, Jay. That's what it is.
That goes, but that exactly.
They want to change how you gauge it. They want to.
You are right. Here's the thing, right? There are guys out there defending, right? Nintendo and Sony never wavered, but they're still defending the fact that Microsoft can change things to fit whatever they want it to change. And it's like, how do you defend the indefensible? Like, you're a corporation, right? If I'm an investor and this is one of the weakest areas of a company, I want to know how that thing is doing. And if I started looking at the sales reports you send me, then you stop giving me the sales reports, then you started giving me the monthly active users, then I'm like, okay, then I can take the monthly active users and multiply that times $1 or $9 or whatever and try to come up with a number. Well, now you're not going to do that, and you're going to lump your services together with Microsoft Office and Windows subscriptions and all this other stuff to kind of muddy the water.
And the funny thing is, Jay, is that they were already doing that. What a lot of people didn't realize when they were announcing their monthly active users, those were mobile phone users that were playing Minecraft. Those were PC users that created free accounts. Those were 360 users, Xbox One users, Silver membership users. Those weren't even paying gold subscribers. Now, Sony, right? They announced they had 96 million consoles were turned on within the last year, right? That's an incredible amount to think that 96 million out of 100 million sold were active online within the last year. And that 38 million active paid PS Plus members, right? They announced that, but why can't Microsoft? Because it makes them look bad. Rock Dog, he says, so why are you still an Xbox fan? I guess there's still that little hope that they can change something, that they can do something, that they realize that they've gone too far, right? They're pushing this stuff a little bit too early. You need exclusive games. You need great content to get people on board. And you can try to reach 2 billion gamers through streaming or through whatever you want. But unless you have content that really appeals to people, mostly they're just going to ignore you. And by putting your games everywhere, you are losing that shining, that appeal. Listen, I'll tell you this. And listen, I don't even care about the PC stuff. Put your games, it doesn't really matter. A good example of a game that lost shine once it went multiplat that Xbox had was Titanfall. Titanfall 1 was the shit. This game was great. People liked it. People bought an Xbox for it. It helped Xbox. It was nice. when they did the sequel and it was on PlayStation 4, people on PlayStation 4 skipped it and people on Xbox skipped it. So that's exactly my point of losing shine. I'm not saying it was a bad game, but that's part of like losing that shine. Gears of War on Steam, that's a competing platform. You're like, I don't care, like put it on Windows Store or whatever you want, but when you're putting your games on competing platforms and everywhere, it becomes lesser of a thing, in my opinion. And I think that's a bad thing. I hope, you know, and again, people go, well, why don't you just switch? Blah, blah, blah. Man, I spent $5,000 on Xbox this generation. I've got 850 games. Like, why should I have to switch? They're the ones that should be catering to my needs as a consumer.
I want to speak to that. Shout out to 9Lives210 in the chat. He says, J-Dub, you're not invested in Xbox. Why are you worried? Let me tell you why I'm worried, right?
Yeah, why are you? That's a good damn question.
Let me tell you, right? No, let me tell you. I've given away like 10 Xbox One X's this generation. All right. I've bought, like, for myself personally, 5 of them. I've invested hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on the games for these platforms, right? I've bought $1,000 steering wheel and racing rig setups specifically for Forza, right? So I'm thoroughly invested. Yeah. Now, you may not like what we're talking about, but you're going to accept the fact that we're talking about it. And you're going to realize that just saying yes, Phil, or this is okay, Microsoft, treat me or do me however you want, you might think that's okay, but that's okay for you, but that's not okay for me. And the thing about it is, if Xbox guys would have spoke up a lot sooner and let Phil and Satya Nadella and all those Matt Booty and let those guys know how they felt, then maybe we wouldn't be in this particular issue. So when you challenge whether I'm invested or not, I'm knee deep into Xbox this particular generation, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's hard to go to say that. It's like, you don't hate Xbox, but when you see stuff like this, you're like, how much longer can they really last? How much longer? Like, I get it, what they're trying to do. And everybody's like, oh, they want to be the Netflix of this. Well, did you see Netflix's latest report? They're like $8 billion in debt. And content creation, to be able to do that, is a constant money pit. And I don't think Microsoft is going to be able to continually do this. Or what they might do to offset some of the cost is try to put Game Pass on PlayStation and Nintendo platforms in the future, right? But again, once you have that, like, look, does anybody look at Sonic the Hedgehog as a good thing anymore? I don't think they do anymore, right? Because once that game started going on everything, the quality dipped, and it was just like the town bicycle. Same thing with a lot of games. You know, Crash Bandicoot, for example. Those were really good games on the PlayStation. I know the developer switched or whatever, but once they really went multi-plat, it just wasn't the same. You know, that happens to a lot of games. Yeah. Okay. Microsoft wants to put their games on everything, which is very third party. And I think that they lose some of the specialty of what those games are all about. And that's a big concern of mine as well in the future. Like, do I trust Microsoft? They have a lot of parallels with Sega. Sega was coming out with a lot of pieces of hardware. They were dropping support with hardware. They were confusing consumers. Yep. Yeah, exactly. They were, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
exactly what Sega did.
Exactly. And they lost consumer confidence. I don't think very many people have that.
The Sega Saturn.
How about all that crap
in
too,
the Dreamcast? Exactly. All of this hardware, and the only the software they had was, the NBA 2K, NFL 2K, NHL 2K, and Sonic. That was pretty much.
You talking about the Dreamcast? You talking about the Dreamcast?
Yes. I'm talking in the last days, right?
Oh yeah,
This stuff started happening it takes 2 or 3 generations for the end result to be there. Mm-hmm. But look what happened, right? They had at one time the world's most powerful
Sega doesn't have Microsoft money
with the Dreamcast, the world's most powerful console. And how did that last? What did that happen? It innovated. It did all the stuff that other stuff didn't do. And
PS2 killed it, man.
So a
lot of things killed it.
Look at what they killed it with.
Nintendo is killing it right now. PlayStation is killing it right now. So, I mean, Google Stadia is coming. I don't know if that's going to be a big hit or not, but that's still another.
It's another person in the ring.
Yes.
And and my other point is that here we are. A lot of people are like, well, Game Pass is great. And I'm like, I hear you. I completely hear you. But can anybody? I just looked it up. I'll ask Dirt. Dirt, I'm only asking you because you're quote unquote the last Xbox guy. But I'm asking you real quick. Do you know when Outer Worlds comes out? Do you have the date, the release date?
I'm getting it on the
yeah, it's October 27th, I believe.
It's October 25th. And the reason, now that's okay. Listen, this wasn't a test for you necessarily. The point of the matter is nobody's talking about this game unless you get into a discussion on the value of Game Pass again. And then everyone's like, well, like, shout out to 9Lives in the chat. He's like, well, Xbox has done me just fine. I got Game Pass for $1. That's what he just said. And I'm like, well, that's great. That's great. But I mean, realistically, if that's not going to get the company to strive to do better and advance themselves, that dollar is not going to get you as far as you think it's going to get you. Now, here you have a company in Obsidian that is definitely AAA worthy, and they're coming out with their newest release, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. And that's the problem. This is the issue with this, is they didn't advertise Gears 5 till the day it came out. Everyone's writing me, Mooch, I saw it in the movie theater. Mooch, I saw it on Hulu. Mooch, I saw it at 11:30 after the Sunday night game on football.
Hey, Mooch, it was an infomercial, and after the infomercial, there was a 15-second Gears commercial. Holy crap, Microsoft are killing it, Mooch. They're killing it.
Right after Ron Coat Knives commercial. Listen,
man, y'all ain't right. No, it's all they never advertise. Now they advertise, and that's a problem.
Well, listen, I don't know if you were on the show I was on. I think we were talking about it on Crossfire. But like we were saying this, and everybody was pretty much in agreement that you cannot advertise your game the day it comes out. I mean, here we are talking about. Here we are. And listen, hear me out, Dirt. You said it yourself. You did a tweet today, okay, about Death Stranding. So many people are talking about Death Stranding, the advertising, the 50-minute gameplay. I hate it. I love it. It's the best thing ever. I would never buy it. Guess what? Everybody knows about Death Stranding. Nobody's talking about Outer World.
Fair point. You guys,
you made a fair point. That is now Microsoft's fault. They're the parent company.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing too. Remember this game called Blair Witch? How everybody was hyping that crap up.
What's that?
I get to play it for $1, and now nobody's talking about it. Like, here's the thing. Again, I think Outer Worlds is doomed to fail.
Hundreds of hours of Crackdown.
Yeah.
Hey, you out of line, J-Dub.
Hey, man, we all gotta play. We've all put in hundreds of hours of Crackdown. I don't know what you're talking about, man. That was game changing, man. The power of the cloud, like total destruction.
Hey,
like
you see what you started when you got crap talking shit again, man.
DX12, it's real. And Fable Legends
update.
Hey, one of my early hit videos was called DX12 is real, and Fable Legends is running it. Now, I don't know what happened there, but hey, it wasn't good. I can say it wasn't good. But as
that was
far
the Tony land breaker right there.
Oh man, listen. Nobody believed, and the thing is, as I spawned, somebody told me this the other day. Man, crap, you spawned so many channels that are doing what you did, but you can tell they don't even really believe in what they're saying. It's like the difference was I really believed in Microsoft for years, and it wasn't until like when they started like switching everything around and you started being able to see Phil Spencer quotes year after year, and they would change back and forth. Like every year was the biggest and best E3 ever. And they had just signed deals for big exclusives and they were coming. You better believe it. And canceling Scalebound was a good thing for gamers. And we were getting VR. And it's like lie after lie after lie. And I realized that all these companies do that.
What do we, okay. Here's
maybe the game was
found. And Dirt, this kind of goes towards you. But I really want you guys to answer this honestly. What do you say to the Xbox guy that no matter how bleak it looks, no matter what Phil tell them, no matter what goes on, they will still say, well, Microsoft has my best interest at heart.
What do we say?
My gaming needs.
That's his damn business. If that's what he feels, that's what he feels, man. Like if you would say, okay, 2 years ago, I remember calling MOH Crap Show one time, and I was, it was getting a little shaky for me. This is before E3 2018. Even though 2017, the X came out, that year was abysmal, right? It was getting a little shaky for me. And me personally, I said, okay, I called MOH like Crap Show one time, and I don't know if they remember, but I was like, man, it's getting a little difficult for an Xbox guy.
I remember.
And things changed a little bit when I saw them invest a little more. All of the other stuff, the little earning report stuff, that don't matter to me personally. So if like that guy, I don't know what to say to that guy. That's his business. If he wants to still stay with Xbox, I mean, you can't tell the New York Knicks fan, man, leave the damn Knicks, man. They ain't doing shit for you. I mean, if his passion is with Xbox, I mean, it is what it is.
Listen, Dirt, it sounds like a wounded animal, right? It sounds like a wounded animal that really wants to have faith and hold on, but they know the inevitable is coming.
Yeah.
and they just don't want to admit it. I was that guy. I was that guy in the Sega days. The Dreamcast. A lot of people don't know that about me, right? I was the die-hard Sega Dreamcast guy. I still have my Dreamcast.
I was too. I got mine right here. Looking at it.
I was that guy. And then I just finally gave up. I said, look, there's no sense. This company's gone. It's dead. There's no sense of me crying about it.
Dreamcast literally died. They stopped creating Dreamcast. They stopped making games.
They were at the point where we are now, where they started lying about financials and lying about everything. It was like that.
They literally died.
But it's good. But it is. They are in that situation. If the consumer base continues to decline and continues to dwindle, they will be. They will be.
Okay, yeah. In the future, they can be. They will be. Guess what? I can be a millionaire 10 years from now.
If they try to, like, they're putting out new hardware next year. If they get half of what they got now, that's not a good look, bro.
Exactly.
That just isn't. And
that's where it's going. Million, right, Crap?
Mm-hmm.
You got half of 13 million.
Yeah, half of 13 million for sure.
All right, let's not go insane with the 13.
14 and a half.
I'll give him half of 40. I'll give him half of 40. I'll give him half of 40 million, and that's 20. I'll give him half of 40.
You always say,
every episode we go down.
Come on, you guys, bro. Come on.
Hey, man, it's not. Hey, the thing is, you can just make up any number now because they can't.
True, right?
Hey, how many monthly active users does Microsoft? How many monthly active users? Just dirt now. He's the only one. You know what I mean? Like,
how many Xboxes are sold now?
How many Xboxes are sold? I think probably 28 million.
Yeah,
30 million.
They stopped announcing the numbers around 14.5 million.
Yep. The last time they announced it,
it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, exactly. And then you had EA said it was 30. You had Z-Huge say it was like 37 or something.
Yeah.
And again, Microsoft, it leaked out that they've only sold like 1.5 million units this year.
Yeah.
And so if you and that was down slightly from last year. So if you add it up, they could be at that 40 million mark. But definitely not. I wouldn't say any more than that.
The Nintendo Switch Xbox within 2 years of its life.
Yeah.
That shows you the difference, right? When you release nothing but high quality first party and AAA third party games, when you have support for those, people will come. But when you don't, when you're releasing 50s and 60s, how many Xbox games have really dropped this year? You had Crackdown, you had Blair Witch, and you had Gears 5. That's 3 titles that they've dropped this year. And 2 of those were duds. So you can only really bring up Gears 5.
Which is a good game. But, I mean, again, it gets mixed in with all the other bad games that they've had. Exactly. So, and so I think people are kind of under that. Rock Dog, he says, sad day. He says, I love Xbox, but you guys do a disservice to the box. I can't take it anymore. Crapgamer, I used to think you were the man. What a letdown. This is a sad day for Xbox. Keep my money, but you lost a fan. Listen.
Come on,
if you want me to sit up,
let's lie to the guy.
Listen, if you want me to sit up here and lie for you, I'm sure there's plenty that do that, right? Like it'd be so ingenuine because it's not how I feel. I just like how can anybody in a right mental state of mind sit up here and tell you that Microsoft is doing all the right things when the things that they're doing, in my opinion, look like they're going third party. They don't care about their console sales. They don't care about their software sales. They only care about pushing these subscriber services, right? And that's not what a console company should do. And why do they think that it's okay to, we got to change it. We got to change it. It's got to meet this. It's got to do this. It's got to, like, why are they fitting this square peg into a round hole? Like,
crap.
It's like, and I'm sorry that I can't be that guy that's hyping up DX12 for you guys anymore. I really wanted to be, like, I believed in Xbox more than anybody for years.
Xbox is known, right? A lot of the guys have diehard love for Xbox. Not because of the OG Xbox, and I'm just going to tell you that it's not, because I was the day one adopter of the OG Xbox. There's not a lot of guys gaming that can say that. A lot of these guys just started gaming on Xbox 360 and think that they're entitled to that particular era. But let's face it, right? We have to call a spade sometime. We can sit up here and lie to you and tell you everything is peaches and cream, but come on, you see the MPDs every month. You see PlayStation coming out saying they've sold over 1 billion games, over 100 million consoles. You see Nintendo just blowing it out the water, selling 40 million units in 2 years after having a dismal generation. This generation.
Lucas says, "Say it with me: L after L after L." Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Xbox, and they've struggled.
Even when you
Bad
get
generation,
positive
Jay.
information, right? Even when you have positive
Yeah, but-
information, like Gears 5, which is
Jay.
a great game. It's probably the defining game of the last 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, here's the thing. I got to interrupt because Dirt was saying something in the background, and he goes, "This is just a bad generation." I've said this a bunch of times, and Dirt, I know you've heard me say it on shows. This is the worst generation to lose.
I
The
agree.
worst, because all our games, all of our investment, it's not a stopgap next year. It's carried along.
Yeah.
All these games,
I
like,
agree
right?
with you.
Nobody.
So the problem
There's
is
nobody that's going to move from Nintendo
Right.
and PlayStation this generation to a Scarlet. I hate to say it.
So,
There's
and that's what I was going to say to Dirt. What happens after? And then the numbers are going to be a little bit different than the last one because there's not a stopgap, and because some of the games will work on PS5 from PS4 and from Xbox One X on the Scarlet. You won't see that mass exodus over to the new ones, but you'll see enough. What happens when you literally see after the first year that, let's just say, pardon me, Sony's sitting at, like, I'm making these numbers up, 7 million, and Xbox has sold 2 million. You've already see that jump out again.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh my God. Now you've got, it just keeps getting lower and lower. Then you go back to what Jay was just saying. We're seeing the NPD numbers. We're seeing that they're selling lower. The numbers are getting, like, everyone's going down as we get next to a new generation. All the numbers are down, but not that. Crap, what was last NPD for Xbox One? I think it was 28,000?
2006. Oh, yeah, 28,000, 29,000, something like that.
28,000 consoles. That was, like we said, that was what the Wii U was selling month to month. So what happens is as you approach the new year, okay, with the new consoles, Dirt, the problem is that it's not a clean slate. It's not. And now you have Microsoft and now you have them not reporting another number to you. And that's what it's not about how does it hurt you. Nobody's losing sleep. Okay. But what I'm trying to say to you is, as far as having a rational conversation, it's not good.
How can you have faith in that company that keeps hiding that? Like, that's the thing. Enrique says, believe me that if Xbox outsold PS4 2-1 holiday 2019, Microsoft would scream from the mountains and share those numbers. They would. You know why? Because Phil Spencer shouted at 112 million Minecraft users just the other day. And I guess that's passe now,
those
right?
Numbers are okay because those numbers are high.
Yeah.
But other numbers that are low, we don't need to look at it. And everyone's like, they don't need to do that, but they do.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Judas.
Like Judas. Listen. Like I said, I could sit there and lie to you guys, but it just would be so ingenuine and I couldn't do it. If Microsoft does something good, I'll happily tell you, hey, it's something good. They did something right, and hopefully they can. But at the end of the day, I just feel like they're more worried about getting their subscription services out to people than selling me a console or an actual game.
And you know what, guys? You guys are right. Mooch, you hit the nail on the head. This is the worst generation to lose because, like you said, everything is going to move on digital. But I think the one thing that you guys, they're not going to win next generation either, right? They're not. But I still think there's a lot of Xbox fans out there that you guys are kind of disregarding. But I think you,
Well, I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I was gonna say, why would you say that they're not gonna win next generation? Like why?
Because I think I'm just being honest. Because I think Moose has made a great point. I don't think it's going to be because of the content. I think the content will be there. That's just my opinion. I think they have to somehow get that mind share back, and I don't know if that's possible unless Sony did some type of drastic mess up like with the PS3. I just don't think it's possible to get that mind share back.
We all know how to get the mind share back, right? Release games that are better than the competition. That's a challenge, though, Jay. That's a challenge. Listen, when you see the type of games that Sony can deliver and the type of games that Nintendo can deliver, think about it. At this point in time, Dirt, what really only matters, right, is the type of games that you give to your base. If you can keep your base, you're okay. Nintendo's going to keep its base. Sony's going to keep its base. But Microsoft,
I think they're
losing their base every week.
I think they're going to keep their base. I just think it's going to be hard to get.
There's only like 5 people left, man. And
those 5 were me, Tim Dog, and a couple other guys are going to be here. But
I know everybody. I know the base.
It's part of the base fell asleep at E3.
Exactly.
No, but I think it's going to be difficult to get some other folks. Like you said, the base is going to be here because I don't know. I don't care what you think. Halo's still going to be big. Halo's still going to
How
be
do
big.
you get to 2 billion gamers, right?
That's not going to happen.
Let me pay a couple bills. Enrique says month of July, Xbox sold 37,000 consoles. PS4 was at 173,000 and Switch 184. And then he says Microsoft does care about selling consoles because they need more consoles sold to sell Game Pass to grow Game Pass. But I actually disagree. I think that they actually don't care much about selling the consoles. I think that they're working
because they can't.
Yeah, I think they're
I
like.
think they care about it. Bro.
Do they though? I mean, why don't they come out and go? We really do care about selling you a console.
I mean, I don't know why they don't. Hell, they don't say anything.
They released the Xbox One SAD that cost more than the Xbox One S.
Yeah, they're out of touch. They're very much out of touch.
I don't know what the SAD was about.
Hey, Nine Lives goes media bias still hurting Xbox. Mooch, you're up, man. You're media bias.
Oh man, that's got nothing to do with that. It's strictly the content. It's also not just the content. It's the lack of marketing. And I've been saying this for such a long time, and nobody.
Say this again.
When I said it back in the day, though, crap. Everybody's like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about." But that's the problem. You had Gears come out and the advertisement was null. Now you've got Outer Worlds coming out, another big AAA game by a new company. You think you would splash that name across the wall, have it everywhere, have it during every NFL game all over. Nobody even, not only does everybody not know when it comes out, nobody even knows what Outer Worlds is.
Yeah.
And the Gears thing was like some Billie Eilish song that nobody cares. Yeah. Like Gears of War is a dude bro game. Okay, let's drop the Billie Eilish crap and you know what I mean. Get some testosterone pumping Metallica or something out there to advertise it. You know,
this is what you always hear, right? You always hear the Xbox guys say, "Well, I got over 700 games on my Xbox, and I got over this and this on the Xbox, right? Counting just last generation."
Yeah.
Here's the problem with that: people only care about the now. You know, what have you done for me lately? Sure, I can go and stack up all my PlayStation 3 games in the corner and say I got 1,000 of them. But is that going to satisfy my now? No, because I don't still play my PS3. I take it, stick it in the closet for one of those retro days, and then after that, it goes back in the closet. I don't care about it. We spend $500 to $600 on these consoles for the now, not for the stuff that I had way back when that didn't sell, obviously, right? Most of these games we're not getting sequels from because they did poorly.
This is exactly right.
I'm thankful that Microsoft is finally investing in some games and some studios. But shit, if I gotta wait 3 or 4 years to see
on top of what we've already waited,
yes, and then some of these games, right, are coming out now, like, and they're trash. So what they don't have the track record to be able to deliver quality software this generation.
Yeah,
they don't. So there is nothing that says, okay, I know for a fact if I spend $500-$600 on this Scarlet, I'm gonna get big bangers, because nothing that you can show me proves that at all.
And that's what you know what, right now you're absolutely right, but that's what they have to do. They have to show that they're going to have some games that people want, because Halo is still big. I know it's not what it used to be like in 2007, but Halo was still big.
What's after that? Like, okay, they won Scarlet. Listen, they won Scarlet Halo. Okay, you got one good game, right? That's probably going to be a little bit better or equivalent to a Gears, right? It's going to get an 85, 86, 87, maybe a 90. Let's say that. Then what? Then you're going to have to keep relying back on your Forzas.
No, come on, man. They have studios to do other games now, man. Come on, we can't just stay that.
But Dirt, okay, while you're sitting around waiting for them to get those studios to that point, right?
Okay.
Other people, you're gonna look around, you're gonna look over to your left and see the Nintendo guys cheering for the latest and greatest Nintendo exclusive that's selling gangbusters. You're gonna look over to your right and see PlayStation guys teasing and pointing fingers for their sequels to the ones that they got this year, and new IP like Project Awakening and some of the other ones that are coming. That's gonna be highly rated. So you're gonna be in a whole nother generation sitting there waiting, twiddling your thumb, damage control.
Are you still back? Hold on. Are you still back?
Let me pay this bill real quick. Failed Power Master says the base Microsoft needs to get back are the ones like me that jump ship to the PS4. This is exactly the truth. Yes. And a lot, like so many people, 50 million people jump from Xbox 360 to PS4. Now listen. If you're a PlayStation guy, right, you're like, well, what do you got to be excited about? And I'm going to mention maybe a couple smaller titles, but Concrete Genie, Shenmue 3, Death Stranding potential game of the year right there. What is that? Project Resistance, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us 2. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You've got also, what the hell is that other game? Neo 2. Like, that's not my cup of tea, but you got shit to be excited about over the next year plus. If you're a Nintendo guy, you've got Top Mario,
games that you know are way above 69.
Exactly, and you've got all these games that you can name off.
With you?
And well, I'm not even just talking about Metacritic. I'm saying games in general, right? And then you look at Nintendo, and it's like they've got Luigi's Mansion 3 and Animal Crossing and this and that. But when you ask an Xbox fan, what's your big game coming out the next 12 months?
Halo. Dirt's answer was
ray tracing.
Dirt's answer was I don't. And Dirt.
Well, what's your answer until Halo? Because that's 15 months away.
It's not just about Dirt. You can ask everybody on the panel what's coming out after Halo. Everyone's like, I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. But that's the problem, Dirt.
That's why I said they have to do something about that.
But we already know that Phil doesn't agree with that. So you're saying that's what they have to do.
I mean, shit.
Hey, I believe Project Resistance is
so what
PS4
I would say,
exclusive.
if I'm you right now, Dirt, I'd come on the show and be like, you know what? After all these weeks, I got to be honest with you. I still stick to my guns. But at the same time, the things that I thought or I projected, I don't really know, and the guy that I think needs to tell me told me he won't.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, listen, that's the thing.
Listen, I even forgot that Predator game.
Negative. It's just we're telling. Like, shout out to Rock Dog in the chat. He goes, guys, it's not. Can we talk about something positive, not negative? I said it's not about negative and positive. It's about the weekly news. This is something that came out by Xbox, and then when you sit down and you talk to gamers that play games all the time, you say, "Hey, so what's going on after Halo?" Everybody goes, "Well, you tell me." I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the problem.
Mooch, they go into this phase where they start coming up with all of these possible rumors. Well, maybe we can get this, or maybe we can get that.
Yeah, and maybe this will be coming.
Yeah.
And okay, hold on. Like every time you bring up Ninja Theory, you know what I get? Their resume from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fran.
What does that do?
Because, but crap, Mooch, I'm sorry, but let's be honest. They had, financial issues. They were never able to do the type of games they really wanted to. So I know you say Microsoft is saving guys that was on their damn last leg, but
right.
They never had the budget. They were doing, like small games because they didn't have the budget. So
can I call you to the stand real quick? Because I want to use what you just said against you.
I'm already here.
Right. Oh, thank you. Please. Well,
Dirt to the stand, please. Dirt to the stand.
Stay comfortable. So everybody, right? So everybody says all the time, Dirt, right? And you're not the only one. Me and you had this conversation a couple weeks ago. Like you were saying, hey, but this is an amazing team. These guys made this, they made this, they made that. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm saying to you. Mm-hmm. You just said it yourself. They were basically on their last leg. They're standing out there barely making it. Those people that made that game back then, they're gone.
Yeah.
They weren't hanging around starving with the other guys that were there.
But the lead is still there, though.
Some are there, right? But you need a majority of that. Or what I'm trying to say is 20 years ago isn't today, or 10 years ago isn't today. That's not the same team. So when you say, hey, this is the team that made that, that means a lot to me when they made it this gen or the very end of last gen. You're talking about something that came out 2 gens ago. I got to go, wait a minute. This ain't the same crew. They're wearing the same shirt, but it ain't the same crew. So that's what happens in that case. And then when you look at Compulsion's completely unproven. And Exile hasn't really done much.
I agree with that.
Double Fine makes basically double A's. I like what they do, but it's a double A filler. Like if Tim Schafer, I honestly big Tim Schafer fan, I really am. I like him for everything he stands for.
Very creative.
But really, right? You're very creative, very artistic. But like if you take a Tim Schafer game, and he said Microsoft's not mandating or dictating anything. So we're going to go ahead and create what we've always created. Let's just be honest. When his new game drops, it's like Blair Witch. It's filler.
It's that the fact of the matter is, Mooch, that Microsoft didn't buy AA studios to make AAA content. They bought them to continue to make AA games to put into games.
Correct.
I saw something that said because I sent it to Crap in the DM that Compulsion is doing a AAA game. Like you remember that Crap that I sent?
Yeah. But they said that they were doing. Microsoft said that they were making quadruple A studio.
They said
it's just a double A studio that has 2 teams.
Hey, listen to this. You guys want to hear a joke? 9 Live says Phil said he held games back for next E3. Like that's a big joke to me because Phil said that exact same thing E3 2018. Again, Phil constantly says this stuff, right? He said at XO 2018. Yeah, I get the criticism. People wanted to hear some game announcements. We hear you. Do you think they're going to have any game announcements this
I don't
XO?
know.
Hell no.
I don't
Now,
know.
if they
I don't
do,
know.
it's going to be something stupid
Where's
like
the makeup for Street Fighter?
they didn't do it. They never made up for it. Enrique says Jay is right. If you're like us who have been on Xbox for almost 20 years, you have a better perspective appreciation of Xbox's decline. This is exactly it. When I first got an Xbox, right? I had a Dreamcast. I had a PlayStation 2, and I liked those things. Xbox was like they were pushing the stuff that I really liked because I was online a lot on my Dreamcast, and I really liked playing like the sports games online. So I was like, this is perfect for me. They had a voice changer. Like Halo was like the best thing I played. It was like KOTOR. Like these like Chronicles of Riddick was banging. I was like, holy crap.
I love that game, bro.
Yeah, dude, I loved Xbox. I still got that stuff, right? And then the Xbox 360 came out, man. And believe it or not, man, I'll admit it, man. I was a big Cameo fan. Viva Pinata, Call of Duty 2. Exactly, man. It was a great platform, but I love that game. Gears of War. I saw Cliffy B on G4. I'd never seen anything like that. These dude bros, man. There's like all those guys, Coltrane's rap. This is my kind of party. I dug it, man. I thought it was awesome. Then they started getting into like the Kinect stuff, and I'm like, you know what I mean? And then, this generation, like, I don't know what the hell happened.
They're still recovering from that era, man. If you guys watch E3 2012, it's the worst E3 ever, bro. They're recovering.
Hey, Skittles, I know Shannon Loftus was playing Kinect Sports or something.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
How long? Listen, last generation, right? Think about it. Last generation, Sony, when they launched the PS3, they launched $200 to $300 more than the Xbox. A year later, they didn't have Rumble in the controller. They had little to no games, and they were able to remedy that within the 9 years that last generation handled. Right?
Absolutely.
Even Nintendo, this generation, they came out with the Wii U, epic failure. Within a couple of years, they say, okay, listen, this is a failure. We're gonna come out with a new console in this generation. They did it with the Switch, and look how it is. Microsoft totally came out the wrong
generation over with.
They had the time, right, to fix it, and they said nope. We're just gonna give up. We're gonna move to a whole new service. We're just gonna stop. We're gonna
this generation.
They've given up.
Hold on. You said Xbox had the time to fix that shit.
Did. They had. This is.
It was over.
7 years in this
generation.
7 years in this generation. You can't blame Don. He was gone within 6 months. He was gone within 6 months. So you can't keep blaming one guy who was there for 6 months. That's 6 months of failure. Okay, give him a year. Well, now, shit. I mean, six years after Dunn Matrix left. 6.5 years after Dunn Matrix left. You can't, yes, the guy that everyone blames for the failure.
What you talking about? 6 months, man. The dude was there. Hold on.
He was only there for he left 6 months after they fired him.
Right, but that's just all of those decisions was his before the generation. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about, Dirk? They
all the connection.
What I'm saying, right? What I'm saying, Xbox launched in 2013.
Right.
6 months later, come 2014.
Jay's saying they had enough time to right the ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
They got rid of that problem. If that was the problem, they got rid of their problem, and they should have started from there.
They got a new
By the way, Phil was in there and never spoke up one time about any of the directions they were going in, and he could have.
Phil's role was to be in charge of the games department. His only job was to get games. That was his job.
They had good games at first.
I mean, listen, they did, but again, how long? Well, when you look at things like this, their last new AAA IP they announced was 2015. We've already got our last new AAA exclusive for this generation. Yeah. And we're a year and a half away from next gen. Yeah. Think about that. We have got our last AAA exclusive of this generation already, and we are a year and a half away from next generation. How messed up is that?
Yeah, it's messed up, crap. They're trying to recover from this generation.
Exactly. Now, 9 Lives. I appreciate your optimism, man. You're always welcome here. I love the constant back and forth. He says Phil will unleash everything E3 2020. I would love to hear.
I can't wait to E3 crap.
I would love to.
The last 6 years.
Listen. 9 Lives. I would love to hear your opinion or anybody's opinion in the chat as to what they think Phil is actually going to unleash. The same Phil Spencer that refuses to announce anything unless it's a year away or less. Right? What is he going to unleash? What the hell? What studio could possibly be ready to unleash anything?
Crap, he might have something because they ain't have shit. So might have something, bro.
Ooh.
I don't know. Bro. I don't know.
Bleeding edge.
Bleeding edge and blistering 4K, guys. I can hardly wait.
Like Bleeding Edge look fun. It look way more fun than Death Stranding.
Oh, come on, Dirt.
Come on,
Hey,
bro.
hey, Dirt,
Wow.
bro. Hold on. Enrique says OG Xbox had Ninja Gaiden as an exclusive. They had exclusives from Koei, From Software, Sega. They did this on an unproven console, and now we have this. That's a great point. Like Sega had a great deal with them. With a Jet Set, was it Jet Grind Radio?
Yep.
Yeah, I have that. That was exclusive.
Sega GT. I mean, they had a lot of
Hey,
stuff.
listen. I mentioned this. I mentioned this earlier, right? Everybody's talking about Death Stranding. There's no such thing as bad publicity. People are like, it's this simulator, it's that. The fact that you can like kind of, and I get what he's created his own genre. This man is like, it's an artwork. Whether or not I'm gonna like it or not, I don't know. But it's intriguing. Like you're gonna be able to build a bridge on somebody else's world or grief them or whatever. Like that's interesting to me. And the fact that Sony's allowing a new AAA IP this strange and kind of out there on their platform, like I think that's cool. You know what I mean? Like Microsoft would probably never allow something as crazy.
No.
You know, and I think that's awesome. And again, I get it for free because that clown bet me that Gears 5 would get a 95 Metacritic, and that's easy money. Dude, that game trailers, dude. He was like, he bets with his heart, man. He's like, Gears 5 is gonna get a 95 Metacritic.
I said 87, so I was close.
And he bet me personally, right? He bet crap Death Stranding game, and he bet me and saying that if Gears didn't get a 95, that he would close his Twitter account.
Yeah,
and I didn't even ask him. That was what he threw up there.
I don't think he closed it. I don't think. Y9 Power says E3 2020 exclusive DLC. They won't even do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, look,
no more exclusivity.
Yeah, when you realize
this is how bad it is, crap. This is how bad it is. Microsoft spend money to get Lil Wayne on a freaking on a advertisement for
that wasn't a PlayStation controller though, Jay.
No. Listen, it was a PlayStation.
Should have been an Xbox controller though.
For this new Ghost Recon game, right?
It was a cool commercial too.
Listen, they spent all this marketing money, and the guy's holding a PlayStation controller, not even an Xbox controller.
Well, we're all just gamers here.
He should have been holding. Hold on,
you can't even
most definitely been holding the Xbox controller. I was a little upset by that. I was like, why are you on the Xbox controller?
It was not an
Xbox controller. Is it an off-brand PlayStation controller? Because it wasn't like a DualShock 4 or nothing.
Well, it's hard. Listen, it's hard to see what it was. I looked at it.
It wasn't an Xbox controller. You can
go
to
an Xbox controller, but it being held at a 45-degree angle, it kind of looked like it was a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, like maybe off-brand, but it should have been a damn Xbox controller.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who at Microsoft care? It's like somebody, they just really don't care about their job.
That's the thing. There's no crunch. There's no worries. You heard the developer, right? They've absolutely. Jay, literally, you heard every single company that was absorbed. They've all said the same thing. Well, Microsoft came in. They said, "Do what you want. We want to keep doing our same thing. No problem. We need a studio. No problem. My aunt in Kansas needs a new tractor. No problem." Like, what the hell is going on here? And everybody's so excited. No kidding. Everybody's excited to work there. There's absolutely no sense of urgency.
You get a martini, you get nap time, lunchtime,
Did you see Rod the other day? He's like, man, I don't want any more tweets. I'm on vacation. I don't care if you can't get past Act 2. I'm out.
Rod game ship, man. For the time being, man. Shit.
Yeah, hey, listen.
There is no sense of urgency. That's what I'm saying.
There's no sense of urgency. I mean, y'all are having fun here a bit, but I mean, come on.
I want to see people running around like fucking The Sims, just running around, scurrying. They're just hurrying, trying to get games.
We keep saying this is big business. This is big business.
Y'all are very
in my mind, and when we all went to school, like big business was a hustle.
Yes.
It was a hustle. It's not.
Hey, 550 watching. Hit the like button. Let's get up over 200. I'd appreciate it.
Now I know why all my East Coasters can't wait to go to the West Coast.
Even if you don't like it, man, you got to appreciate that you got a place to talk here. Failed Powermancer says Phil back then, like now, only did what he had to do to keep his job. He's the one that benefited the most, right? Yeah. From being like the yes man doing whatever Matrick told him to being the guy in charge sitting at the right-hand side of one Satya Nadella. And good for him. But again, maybe pay a little bit more closer attention to what some of the fans are actually asking for, and that probably would do you well. You know what I mean? Like, I think Oh God, he says Crackdown 3 was fun according to the 9 Lives. Okay, man.
The campaign was okay. The campaign.
Listen, never forget, guys. Never forget. I can't wait. I'm more excited for games that they didn't show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
hell yeah.
I mean,
Phil Spencer right after he showed you games at E3.
But they didn't show you anything.
He better start showing those within the next 15 months so that we could get excited and fuck his excitement, because that shit is ridiculous.
It is.
I'm gonna call it right now.
So we about to call it?
Day one, everybody and their mom and their grandmother are gonna be standing in line for a PS5.
Yes.
Nobody's gonna be fine.
There will be people.
Nobody.
It'll be me, Tim Dog.
It'll be you, Tim Dog, and Xbot, and you guys will be huddled up together.
Yeah. No, come on, Jay. There's still people that like Xbox.
Listen, that's
shit, man. Look at the guy like the chat, man. Some people that saying like talking shit about crap, bro.
Hey,
you know what's curious, guys. I always love this. This is Moochonomics. I love this stuff. I can't wait to see what the trade-ins are. Like, you can also tell how I don't want to use the word desperate, or how willing Microsoft's going to be for people to upgrade if they say, we'll give you $300 for your, Xbox One X, where Sony might say, well, we'll give you $250 for your PS4 Pro. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what that trade, I wonder if they're going to match each other, or if Microsoft's going to go the extra mile to be like, for God's sake, buy a Scarlet. I mean, like,
but Mooch, the PS4 Pro at GameStop already gets a higher trade-in value than the X. And the X costs more. So that tells you where the value lies right there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Phil's going to be up there hawking this stuff. He's going to be like, buy a Scarlet. We'll throw in a Switch Lite, a PS5. We're all gamers here. Get this deal right now. Step on up.
Hey, speaking of
Snake Oil Phil right here.
Speaking of Moochonomics, just so we can actually take a break from this topic real quick, there was all those trade-in deals. I've got the 3DS that's like literally the big screen 3DS that the kids never touch. They're giving like $75 or $100 right now. I might go bring that in tomorrow and go get a Switch Lite, because
you might as
the
well.
3DS is, I mean, let's be honest, the Switch Lite is the 3DS. Why not get the kids another? We have a Switch, but now the kids don't have to argue over one. And it's not a bad idea, guys. Moochonomics here on a Wednesday night. Test on Friday at 7.
Exactly. Hey, you know what? I just came across this tweet. I saw it like, they're advertising these advertisements for Gears 5, right? And it's like sound by family, sound bound by blood, bound by friendship, Gears 5. It doesn't even say Xbox, it just says Xbox Game Pass. Like, again, that's Microsoft turning Xbox.
Yes, that's what I was
turning they're turning Xbox into this app and this service. It's not even about that. And that's what I'm trying to tell people, right? They'll go, and I know what the detractors will say, you're fear-mongering, blah, 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 because they're making a Scarlet and Phil said this. Well, I've just pointed out 20 things today that Phil said and lied about. So why would you believe that they're going to make one after Scarlet? Maybe he has the intention to. Maybe he has the intention to, but will that actually happen if this thing doesn't sell? And I got to be honest, they're giving people little to no reason to buy their console next year, their next-gen console, honestly. Like, what's the reason? Like, here's the thing. People are like, Xbox One X is the best console, and it is. They got the power. They've got the services. They've got backwards compatibility. They got all this great stuff that supposedly is going to help them win the day. And where are they at? Selling 29,000 units a month, right? That's where they're at. Why are they at that? The next 15 months, you're getting no AAA games from them. That's why they're where they're at. That's the only reason. People that want to go exclusives don't matter. You got to check yourself, because they obviously matter. 10 out of the top 20 in the NPD last month were exclusive games. 10 out of 20. Those are legit numbers. Those are facts. The fact that Microsoft has no exclusives, they devalue their console, they don't value their customers, right? Those are facts, man. They don't even care. They don't even mention the damn Xbox. It's Game Pass. They want it everywhere. Look, Jay, you've seen it. They talk about it. They dance around it. Do you want to see Gears 5 on PlayStation? Well, let me dance around that. But realistically, they want it there. They want it there. And realistically, we know that they pitched Master Chief Collection to Sony, and Sony said no. Okay, so, and Frank O'Connor kind of confirmed that by saying no code was made, but who knows what the executives talk about, right? Like, basically confirming that happened. So the people that are such diehard fans that would, Microsoft could go, we're closing up shop. And I can tell you there's 10 YouTubers right now that would go, brilliant move by Phil. I can't wait to see the end game on this. It's going to play out, but it's goddamn brilliant. Okay, like that's the sad part, right? You guys got to be aware that a lot of the stuff that they're doing are red flags to the way that we traditionally game. You like your console, you like the competition, then you should want Microsoft to compete in that console space. And the fact that they're not, Yeah, go ahead, man.
Now, Jay said earlier that some of us Xbox guys sound like wounded dogs or wounded animals, right? We're crying, we're whining about. Some of you guys sound like a bitter ex-girlfriend that got mistreated, man. Like
Yeah,
y'all,
you
like,
pretty much have. Think about it. You have been mistreated. You invested thousands of dollars in this ecosystem with this promise that it was going to have some big games and a bright future, and kept lying and lying and lying and over. And now they're just backtracking and changing the narrative every So yeah, a lot of people.
I think you guys are extremely negative tonight, like more than usual, man. I mean,
listen,
you guys are just loving this.
Do you want us to lie to you? We can lie to you.
No, you guys are talking about. I mean, like, this is a video game podcast. We have to talk about the news, but we spent an hour and 15 minutes.
I'll tell you this: if PlayStation is sucking, right? If it's sucking, they're not delivering the games and stuff like that. Don't lie to me. Tell me. Don't I accept whatever criticism it is. I'll accept.
Early in the generation, I didn't really.
In the generation, I'm going to compare it to the nearest competitor, and that's what we always do, and that's what we'll forever do. We're forever going to compare Sony to Nintendo, Nintendo to Microsoft, and Stadia, whoever else decides to come into this market.
J-Dub, that's my question. Earlier in this generation, like I said, I was a BZST MOH crap guy, right? Zaire and shit. So I didn't really mess with PlayStation guys. I saw you trolling, but I never really paid attention to you. What was your thing early in the generation when PlayStation had no games? What was your PlayStation is the best? Like, what were you talking about? Because you just said when PlayStation don't have games, I would be upset. Tell me.
Earliest generation, I was on Xbox.
Earliest generation,
I was on Xbox.
In 2013.
2013, that's when I created my new Xbox account because my old one got hacked. And I decided to start all over. That's when I came up with the Fever Spider 79. That's what they gave me. I'm a racing guy, right? So number one game, Forza Motorsports 5.
So when did you become this J-Dub? When did you become this J-Dub?
Son of Rome, Sunset Overdrive. I had all those first launch games.
When did you become this J-Dub though?
When did I come? I created J-Dub, actually Kratos, the character, the moment that they came out on the stage and the symphony for God of War started playing. I called that
2016
with Kratos. Yes, 2016. When Kratos came out of the shadows, right? Not when the game dropped, but when they showed him. When he came out the shadows, that right then and there is when I said that's going to be my persona. That game is going to be the game of the year whenever it comes out. And that's
the best E3 this generation.
I've been sticking to that ever since. But in the meantime, right? Sure, the PlayStation launch lineup was okay. It was okay. I don't think it was worse than what they've had before, because remember, PS3 generation was 10 times worse.
Yeah, well,
it was 10 times worse in this generation. So it really wasn't that bad to me. I know you guys say it was horrible.
Killzone was only decent game.
Killzone was still an okay game to me.
That's what I said. It was decent.
Beautiful. And I waited, right? I waited until Infamous Second Son came out.
That was a great game.
I thoroughly enjoyed. The graphics were beautiful. The whole streaming mechanism. This is the first time in a generation we've been able, to have content creators. You're able to, upload to YouTube, Twitch, and stream and stuff. So this is where this generation has brought me. Yes, I was thoroughly on the Xbox in the beginning generation. I played those games. Wait, I love those games, right? But then the content started picking up on the Sony side, and it just never picked up on the Xbox side. So I my Xbox collecting more dust, and I'm not one of those guys that buy games just because my friends are there. I'm not one of those guys. I'm selfish. I buy the games that appeal to me. If you look at my channel, I'm streaming games that most people wouldn't play. RTSs, a lot of first-person shooters that you've never heard of because that's on PC. I uploaded some of that stuff. I'm always playing games on the Switch. You guys see me posting stuff. So I'm a thoroughly rounded gamer when it comes to gaming, right? A lot of guys say, well, why didn't you buy the game on the PlayStation? You're a Sony guy. Well, it's because I bought it on the Xbox and I beat it on the Xbox. I'm not going back to beat Red Dead and play through that long game on the PlayStation. That's just not what I do. But you clearly, Dirt, you gotta see the huge disparity in content that was released this generation between the two.
Of course I see that. I never said, I've openly admitted PlayStation has been the better console, has had the better games this generation.
And the cheaper price.
Yes, I admitted that.
Even to this day, the Xbox is still the weakest console. It's still the worst performing console. I know the X is out there, right? I know it's the best, the worst
Xbox One.
I give it that, right? I give it that. But the problem is that really didn't make a difference because there's not many people that have that console compared to how many still own the OG Xbox and how many own the S. How many of those 14.5 million Xbox, OG Xbox people still have their Xbox? And how many of them that moved to the S? And how many of them that moved to the X? You know, if they transition, then they gain no install base. They only transitioned. So if I have an OG Xbox and I buy an S and I no longer deal with my OG Xbox or I trade it in, you don't have two gamers. You just still have that one gamer. So install base did not grow. It just transitioned to the next console. And this is what I try to get people to see. That's it.
His name's not Dirk, Mighty. It's Dirt. It's Dirk. It's like you're cutting off Dirk.
Hey, my grandma used to call me that back in the day. Dirk.
Yeah, what are you doing? Hey, did you guys see? Okay, Jim Sterling, he did this video.
I didn't watch that. I did not watch that shit crap
about Microsoft. Right? Here's the thing. This video was the hotness. Right? It was called. It's Microsoft's fault that video games are bad. The Jimquisition. Okay, so he does obviously he just got this persona or whatever, and he's going on about it. And I was listening, and I'm like, this is pretty funny because it's really accurate because he's talking about how he will be biased and he is biased. And he's like, I am biased. Yep. Who cares? Right. But then he went on to pretty much kind of explain how Microsoft has been nickel and diming us with microtransactions with terrible games right from the start this generation. Right. Crimson Dragon, Rise, all these these games. And on the other hand, Sony and Nintendo rarely do microtransactions. And when they do, therefore, really, really good games like Breath of the Wild or something along those lines. But yeah, it was really kind of scathing and just very interesting to see that because I also saw the Gears 5 comparison to Gears 1 where those games are so mimicked, so close in what they're doing. It the only difference is the color palette. Mooch, I didn't know if you got a chance to watch that or anything.
I did.
But what do you think about it?
Well, I'm glad you kind of bring it up. I think a lot of people in the chat are saying, oh, Jim Sterling's this and that. Let me tell you, I'm not originally just a big Jim Sterling fan. I'm not. But I did watch that video when everybody said, Mooch, you got to watch this. You got to check it out. Yeah. And I got to tell you something. He made some good points. And I've started to do that more and more over the past couple of years. There's a few people that originally, I'd say, they don't have to be, nobody has to be your favorite YouTuber or someone that you follow religiously. But, you should check out all the different works of art that people put their passion into. Jim Sterling's a big-time gamer. I mean, he is. Whether you like him or you don't, he's a big-time gamer. He lives, breathes, and sleeps video games. That being said, his depiction of how Microsoft comes off as this consumer-friendly company all the time, but really what they're doing a lot of times, and this is his point, not mine, it's his point, was that they're nickel and diming you in every one of their first-party games. So they'll sit there, and I've said this a bunch of times too, just to step away from the Jim thing and then come back to Jim Sterling, is, people used to say to me all the time, Mooch, look at it. It's going to be great. Crap was one of the first people. Me and Crap used to argue about this all the time. Well, the DLC is going to be free, though, Mooch. The DLC. Yeah. I said, listen, I don't care if the DLC is free because the DLC being free means generally it's not going to be great. It's not going to be that good. Yep. And they're going to hit us with so many microtransactions. It's going to be insane. So they're going to get their money one way or the other. And what's interesting here is everyone's like, Microsoft's so consumer friendly. But if you do look at all of their first party games, and I think it was even, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, please do correct me. I do other things during the day. I don't just do video game research. But I mean, Windows Central, I think even said $1,700 to buy all the skins in Gears 5 or whatever it is, all the perks or microtransactions. Is that true or not? Did anybody else see that article?
Yeah, I read that.
I believe it was $1,700. And don't get me wrong, that's an extreme. I mean, they were just giving you a point, okay? Yeah. They weren't saying you have to spend $1,700. But my point being is that here's a company that was like, I would rather actually pay the extra $30 for a season pass, and I get some of those skins or some of that gear included in it. Versus me, I'm like, oh man, I really want that. No problem, Mooch, you can have it for the easy price of $9.99. What? What? Yeah. What? Every time I want a different skin or this or a character, it's $10. Believe me, if you're hooked on a game and people play those multiplayer games as long as people say they do, you're spending a lot more money out of pocket. You just don't realize it when it's piece by piece over time. So Jim's point was really, really interesting in how he kind of showed people that, and it's something that people don't realize. People think and the other thing with Game Pass too, I said this a long time ago, and it's funny because everyone's like, Mooch, you're full of shit. And then a year later, they're like, that Mooch was on to something.
Yeah.
When I said basically that this is a bait and switch. This is a bait right now. 99 cents. Right now, you had a bunch of people that advertise for Xbox that are saying, don't forget, 2 more months. I guess they reinstalled it or reinstated it. $1.99. You get another 2 months of Game Pass, right? They're really trying to get people hooked on people that used to only be casual that had 3 games in their library, now have 200 games. And after 200 games sit in your library, that's why you see all the people in the chat right now that don't agree with us. They're like, I love Game Pass.
Yeah.
I've never had 200 games. That's great. But the thing is, though, that $2 is not going to go forever. Eventually, you will be paying $15 a month. That's the goal for Microsoft. Believe me, everybody that's sitting in one of those very, very expensive chairs at that mahogany table in Redmond, trust me when I tell you, they're not like, let's give them 200 games for the rest of their lives for 99 cents. That's not what they're saying. So stop with this. They're greater than thou. They're not. They want you at $14.99. The same way that Disney Plus wants you at $12.99. The same way that Netflix wants you at $12.99. They want you up there. So for all of you right now that are like, I'm loving my 200 games for $1, that's not forever. And it was even stated that your Xbox name it's linked to that sale. So you're not going to continuously get these 99-cent, $1.99 deals. So this whole like Microsoft is so uber consumer friendly, eventually you will be paying premium. You will be paying premium unless you catch a couple of deals, but the deals won't be 99 cents. It'll go from $120. You'll get it from the original deals that we used to see, 12 months for $69.99. And that's still a lot of money out of pocket, you know? And people go, no, it's not. I always buy 2 exclusives. But do you? Casuals don't. My one friend, he buys NBA 2K. That is all he buys. I have another friend, all he buys is COD. He only buys Call of Duty. That's it. So for him, it's not worth $120 a year. So you've really got to watch Jim's video and look at what he's actually showing you and what he's depicting. And a lot of people are just looking past that and saying, Jim's a hater. Jim doesn't like Xbox. That's not at all what he's trying to say. He's just showing you at face value what's going on for your dollar. And that's the way I look at it.
I've been saying that for the longest time. And somebody mentioned it earlier. I don't know if it was Dirt, about like... once they get you the one time with these $1, $2 deals, your gamer tag no longer qualifies for those deals. So once it's over for you, it's going to go up to $15 if you got the ultimate, like we all on the panel do, right? Yeah. And are you really going to hold on? I'm certainly not. I've made that very clear. I've said it a bunch of times. Me, when I would have dipped into it right now, I would have took my buggy ass Gears 5, enjoyed that for $15. I would have shelled out $15 for it if I didn't have this deal going on. And I would have enjoyed it for those $15. And that would have been that. But that's the direction that Microsoft wants to go. And if you guys are with that, the Xbox diehards that are saying that this is a great value and if this is really what you want, then go ahead. Just know that your platform is dying because this is what you want. It's not something great value, right? Yeah, great value until the damn platform is damn near dead, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to continue to dwindle unless you really put, like the awesome quality AAA content in there, exclusive content in there, then maybe. But then again, you're going to devalue that content.
Knox, just to add on to what you're saying, though, is, the whole way that these, a few people in the chat are like, Mooch, that's the way subscriptions work. I understand that. Believe me, I understand that. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing is that subscription services work when you have the masses. Disney Plus is looking to get not 3 million people. They're looking to get everyone, okay? Everybody at $12.99. Microsoft right now has got and everyone that argues with you about, there's no arguing about Game Pass. It's a great value, even at $14.99. For who? For the hardcore.
Yes.
But the hardcore, if I can just get you guys to listen to me for a second and not keep just typing, Mooch, you don't know what you're saying. Listen to me for a second. The hardcore were the ones paying $60 to $100, depending on the standard, the middle, the deluxe edition, or the super deluxe edition. We were the ones buying all 3 of those.
Yep.
Now, the hardcore is who's arguing, listening on the chat, people on Twitter. They're all hardcore. Casuals are not arguing about Game Pass.
No, they're busy playing Candy Crush.
They don't even know what Game Pass is, crap.
Nope.
Yeah.
So, my point being is that, of course, for the people listening in the chat and the people on the panel, Game Pass is a great value. But what happens is, I think this is kind of like Superman 2. I think Microsoft got into that crystal chamber, and they put their hands on the glass, they thought that they were going to weaken Superman, and they weakened themselves on the outside.
Wow, a Superman 2 reference right
Not
here.
just food. It's not just food. I can do Superman 2 references. So my point being,
it's incredible. Well, listen, Mooch. I think they're like, a lot of people go, well, I didn't pay $60 for Gears 5, so it's okay that they have 17. Yeah, it's okay that they have $1,700 of microtransactions. The bottom line is that's still a $60 premium game, and you're throwing microtransactions in there. It's a little bit ridiculous and a little bit money grubbing. Just in my opinion. I get for me, prove that you actually care about gamers for a change. I get it that everybody's like, they're so consumer friendly. I'm like, Phil hasn't listened to a single game that any fan has asked for this entire generation.
You want to make something like, and don't get me wrong, people start saying Devil May Cry 5 is in there, and they'll say, you want to do something. This is what I said when we used to say Game Pass was and never was. What I'm saying to you is this: Doom Eternal comes out, but Doom Eternal in Game Pass day one.
Not gonna happen.
Of course, it's not going to happen.
Nothing like that is ever going to happen.
But my point is, you know what they're like? Oh, Mooch, you won't believe it. You know what's going to be in there day one? What? And then all of a sudden they're like, they're like, Celeste. Who cares?
Listen, it's like you said earlier, right? The economics aren't balancing out. You're paying $19 million to put Devil May Cry in Game Pass. You're devaluing Gears by putting it in Game Pass. The only way to make this money back is to have like these real like real hardcore attempts at getting people to take advantage of the microtransactions to try and recoup some of that investment. That's what they want. They want you to pay $14 a month, play it there. They know it costs them $100 million to make Gears 5, but if they can sell everybody all this, a pair of boots or some armor or a character for $10, they may be able to recoup some of that way. That's their intent. The thing is to nickel and dime you to death until they can make their guap back. That's what they want.
Well, here's the thing. Captain Crunch goes, Mooch, that's a waste of money. No, it's not, Captain. And let me tell you why for a quick second. Okay? It's like
Captain Crunch.
Captain. I'll tell you right now, but the reason that's not a bad idea is that's how you slowly get the casual market. People that go, you know what? Yeah, I like only this game, but now I'm going to start getting random third-party AAA games in there day and date. So it's not just waiting 15 months for the next AAA exclusive. And I know everyone's going to go, Mooch, they already came out and said they want to have a AAA game out or a big-time game first party every quarter. That's great. But listen, don't sell me that Compulsion and Exile they're not going to have games out for a while. So I mean, they've got to have some filler right now for people that want to get into Game Pass. You take Doom Eternal, right? The other thing I said was take like what was it? Evil Within 2, right? When that came out. Throw that in Game Pass day and date when it first came out. If Evil Within 3 is on the way, make a deal now. Lock it in. That's what gets people to go, you know what? I'm not just getting first party. I'm getting some of the third party games I also want. We don't get that.
Value, Mooch. That would be true value if they were to do that. That would encourage me to maybe take a better look. To me, it's like you said, Game Pass is a never was for me anyway. But if they were to go that route, absolutely. That would
hardcore fans that wanted to play Devil May Cry 5 either bought it day one. Crap bought it on sale for $20 or $25.
That's what the geeky nerd says. He says the thing is, by the time they added it, it was already $20 in
stores. Already $20. So the majority of people, or especially the hardcore, which is what's in Game Pass, the main consumer is the hardcore, has already bought it.
Oh yeah, Capcom took that $19 million.
You guys see on Twitter. What does everybody say when the new games are listed on Game Pass? Oh my God, those are great games. I already own them all. But everybody said that. I already own them all. But that's really cool for people who don't.
Yeah.
Well, great, but those people aren't part of Game Pass.
Well, if you look at the Game Pass games, like people were trying to like downplay the metrics stuff today. They're like, well, look at the games that are coming to Game Pass. Jump Force, Bad North, Dirt Rally 2, Lego Worlds, and Bloodstained, which I hear Bloodstained is good, but
Bloodstained's very good. That's a good pickup. I mean, because let's be honest, Bloodstained's not a game that majority of people ran out and bought the day it came out anyway. Bloodstained's not that game. I'm talking about games like Doom Eternal is going to get some really good press on the IGNs and on the streams on Twitch. It's going to get some good press for a couple of weeks. Imagine that's day and date. It's a big deal.
Exactly. So like Jump Force is a 56 on Metacritic. And I'm not saying that means that that's the end all be all, but it's a 56. So, again, like this game seems to have a lot of problems. And, a lot of the other games I've never even heard of, like Lego Worlds.
Bloodstain, though.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
it's
Lego,
a great game. You should.
Lego Worlds is like, I own that. I paid $5 for it. I've never even heard of Bad North. I have no interest in Jump Force. Bloodstain, I heard it's pretty good, but again, if I probably would have bought it. It was on sale for like $15-20 not too long ago. So again, I would rather kind of own my games than do the rental thing. But I think that's cool or whatever. But again, it seems like they announce these things to sort of offset some of the negative news that's coming around. Like, I'm sure they didn't expect people to kind of jump on this news, but when you change your metrics for success 3 times in 4 years, that's a bad thing. So more 343 executives are leaving per Brad Sams, and there could be development problems there as well. This could definitely be something to kind of keep an eye on. Mooch, what do you think about this interesting stuff where more and more like executives, not just like random like people at 343, but executive levels and creative heads and things like this? These are the people that are leaving 343. What's your take on this? Because we're 15 months away from the release of this game potentially, and you have all these people that are supposedly exiting. That can't be a good sign.
Well, I mean, like I say,
it's not a Tuesday.
It's not a Tuesday. I mean, but at the same time, I will say this much: there's cause for concern. There's not cause for concern. There's a lot of people there that can pick up the slack, no doubt. My thing is more of I don't know how to put it. I don't know if it's a moral thing. I don't know. If I was there and I was an executive, you fill in the blank, right? Executive of you fill in the blank. Creative director, creative this, blah, blah, main artist, whatever. If I was there all the way through this and we have basically the ribbon cutting next fall, I just find it very odd that you've got 2 big players that left within the past, whatever it is, 4 to 6 weeks. When you're an artist, the number one thing you can't wait to do as an artist is reveal your art at an art show. You can't wait. You work so hard on it. You put your heart into it, your blood, sweat, and tears into it. And in this case, you have these guys that are artists that put all this time and effort into it, and they're going to leave. They're not going to get any credit, and it's just going to be like they're gone. And at that point, it's like there's either a conflict of interest between employees. Maybe it's a personnel or a staffing issue. We'll never know this answer, by the way. Yeah. Unless Jason Schreier's in the bushes doing his homework.
Somebody's disgruntled. Holy crap.
Somebody upset? Give me a plane ticket. But I mean, my point being is that, right? It's the only way we'll find out is if Jason finds out somebody's disgruntled. But I mean, except for that, we're never going to know. It could be a personnel issue. It could be a problem where they had a problem where there was an argument about the direction of the game. But whatever it is, it doesn't look good when your top tier people are leaving. And I know I'm not in the business. I guess maybe it is a Tuesday, but it would surprise me. The other thing is this: Halo's coming off of one of the worst received Halo campaigns. Okay. Yeah. Listen to me when I say that, guys, because everybody doesn't listen to the whole thing. They go, Halo 5 multiplayer was great. I didn't say that. It's coming off one of the most ill-received campaigns. And this isn't the time when you want to have your creative genius think tank be leaving. So myself personally, do I think it's a cause for concern and everybody, the whole thing and Infinite's going to be awful? No, I don't think that. I think Infinite's still going to be a ton of fun. But I just think that it is it's a really interesting point to see that 2 very high people on the totem pole have left.
Here's the thing. It says, according to Brad Sams, some of the developers have left 343. He said, while this news isn't set in stone, fans should keep an eye on the space. There might be news in the coming days. Hearing there have been departures from 343 yet again. Keep an eye on what's happening with executive turnover at 343i. So there have been recent departures from 343 last month. Halo Infinite creative director left the project to studio to pursue indie development. Tim Longo served as creative director for Infinite and Halo 5. He also worked on the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot before joining 343 in 2013.
Well, real quick, Crap, can I just interject? Because X-Hawk is X-Hawk in the chat. You're my perfect example of the guy who doesn't listen to the whole thing I just said. He goes, well, Naughty Dog lost people, so I guess their games are trash too. X-Hawk, nobody, and not at any point in time did I say, I actually said Halo Infinite's going to be fun and I can't wait to play it. So you're not listening. So that's just odd that you would say that. Number 2,
I think it'll be good too, right? Like no doubt. I mean, it's Halo. I mean,
but the thing is, but the other part of the equation is Naughty Dog losing their graphic artist, which I do think is a big deal. I do. I think that's a big deal. but you have to understand Naughty Dog's also coming off of 2 award-winning games, right?
Yeah.
So they like the minute somebody leaves, all they have to do for 13 seconds is be like, help wanted, job filled.
Yeah.
Right? Help wanted, job filled. Like the minute that they put the help wanted out for Naughty Dog, an immediate talent just shows up and sits down. And maybe that's the same way for 343. That's yet to be solved because right now 343 hasn't delivered this generation yet. They had a catastrophe with the Master Chief Collection, and they had a very, very bad rating on the Halo 5 campaign. So they've got a lot to prove.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, Mooch. Like, if we're hearing that these people are leaving but are being replaced with even better talent than the ones that are exiting, then we may not have anything to worry about. But yeah, it is a cause for concern when this is going to be your flagship. This is one of your tent poles, going to be flagship title for your next console, and people are leaving. I don't want another average Halo game. I don't. I'm just tired of the average games. I want a great, stellar ass game from a studio that you know is capable of delivering that. And when people are exiting, that's a cause for concern, especially when we're not hearing they're being replaced by even better, talent than what's
exactly. Enrique says it isn't ideal for these individuals to leave a year from launch. Crunch is happening at 343. I mean, that could be a thing too. Like imagine a world where Halo isn't a launch title for the Scarlet. I can imagine that actually ending well for Microsoft because what else would they have? Like, I actually think that Halo is going to be it for them.
Man, crap. Are you kidding me? Damn, people got to work. People got to earn their money.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It is. But at the end of the day, that's what they got to do, man. They got to go out there. They got to earn their living. They got to earn their keep. And that's kind of what the big deal is from there. So Sony also confirmed that they own the rights to Sunset Overdrive, which I think was a given. Yeah. But Yoshida kind of laughed when they talked about, hey, do you have any plans for this franchise in the future? Mooch, what do you think, man? Are we going to see a Sunset Overdrive too? I think it's dead, but
yeah, I don't
think?
I don't think so. I'm actually interested to hear what J-Dub's got to say. I honestly think that, to be honest with you, I don't think so. I think you've got Insomniac working diligently on the next Spider-Man. And I think they also said, and crap, you correct me if I'm wrong, that they were already working on something else. So
yeah, supposedly they might have a new Ratchet and Clank, and they're working on Spider-Man, but they are a pretty big team.
Right, so we're talking 5 years, 6 years out before maybe another Sunset. And to be honest with you, that's not, by no means is Sunset Overdrive the IP, the reason that Sony acquired that very, very talented team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it could have something to do with Spider-Man selling 14 million copies, right?
That's got a little bit to do with it, yeah.
I mean, they do. Jay does. What do you think, man? I mean, Sunset Overdrive, yay, nay?
Okay. So Yoshida was thorough.
You're very low, man. Speak it to the mic.
Okay, so Yoshida was very thorough when he said they own Insomniac Games and all of its past IP. They own everything. So they technically could make a remaster, which who knows, they probably would. And think about this, right? If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. What about Insomniac Games having multiple teams being able to make multiple games?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that studio is going to grow where they can do more than just make Spider-Mans and stuff like that. We know a Ratchet and Clank is coming. From the studios. We got a potential, even from the other studios, we got a potential Killzone could come back. There's just a lot of IPs and a lot of stuff that they can do with the talent that they have. I don't know. I think what they could do is outsource that to Bluehole like they did with other games. Just outsource it and have it ported over.
Why would they do a Sunset Overdrive? Man, the game sold like shit.
It was so
Xbox.
good for Xbox. I mean,
I don't
but
think
it's sold like shit on Xbox.
They won't remake
all games sold like shit on Xbox. So
they won't
remake. He's right.
Listen,
I'm just saying you can't use that as a matrix.
They won't remake Sunset Overdrive 1, but I could see them towards the end of the next console generation coming and throwing a Sunset Overdrive 2 out and getting it out. I could see them doing that, but at the end, they're not going to do that now.
But this could be, right? This could be that bone on the leash for Sony to pick up those disgruntled Xbox gamers, right?
Yeah.
That it could be, hey, remaster or Sunset Overdrive 2. We are going to keep that IP. We're going to grow it. We're going to do something with it, make it better.
Listen, Jay, if they didn't if they didn't pick up those,
the Sony faithful aren't going to support it. The Sony faithful
at this point in time, it's not about the Sony faithful. So Sony faithful are solidified, right? They have the God of Wars, they have the bangers for next generation. They're going to be by PS5 no matter what. But unlike Microsoft, right, who only thinks about their own little cocoon, Sony can think outside the box. How do they poach some Nintendo fans? How do they poach Xbox fans? They know how to strike when the iron is
That's
hot.
a good point. I could see them doing like an Alan Wake 2 or a Sunset 2, like at an E3, and then like you would have the media like jumping up and down and things
and
like
all
that.
those diehard Xbox guys that swore up and down for Alan Wake and Sunset Overdrive. This is that bait and hook. Now, guess what? You want it? Go get you a PlayStation. What else? Trust me. Sony, they've this whole generation, they've been 3 steps ahead of Microsoft on everything. Even right before Gears launched, they showed you what they started talking about the Last of Us 2 event that's coming out in another week. And so everybody's going to be talking about that. The Days Gone has been, for the last 2 weeks, has been the talk of the town.
Ain't nobody talking about no damn Days Gone.
I mean, not Days Gone. I mean,
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's like,
by the way, Days Gone.
Let's say, come on, Jay.
By the way, Days Gone is still getting a sequel, and they're still releasing updates and free DLC for it. So
and they just did New Game Plus as well for that.
Exactly.
So hey, everybody, hit the like button. We're closing in on 200 likes. I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
This was something, and I did a video on it, but I want to get your guys' take on it. Yoshida was doing an interview, and he was talking about a little bit more about this PC stuff, because everybody's like, Sony admits they're going to put their games on PC, and Yoshida's like talking. He's like, yeah, we put Helldivers on PC, and maybe some multiplayer games in the future. But this is what he said. He says, we're trying out how to interact with the PC market in order to get new fans. However, the role of our first party is based on the creation of hit titles for our own hardware. So, I mean, that pretty much puts any kind of end to it. Like, I wouldn't expect to see, anything from Naughty Dog or the next God of War or Spider-Man 2 to be on PC or other hardware or anything like that. No. Sony's, they like to sell the hardware so they can sell the software. And imagine that, they sell 100 million consoles. You could sell over 1 billion pieces of software, 40 million people paying the PlayStation Plus. Like, imagine that. You actually put your nose to the grindstone.
Hey, crap!
Appeal to console gamers. What's that?
Why is Microsoft?
Microsoft is Microsoft.
How did they become this big behemoth? Right?
Probably stepping on a lot of toes along the way. I know they got
Windows.
They have a monopoly on the
Windows
Office and Business.
Right. That's why I guarantee if it was Sony Office or Sony Excel, they would put their stuff on PC. But we need to stop. We need to stop. Hold on, but no, wait. We need to stop with. Yeah, Sony's not putting their games on PC. Sony's not doing. Sony isn't Microsoft. Microsoft is Windows. Their OS is on every PC except for Mac. Of course, I mean,
but nobody's playing their games on PC anyway.
We're talking about games.
You're still using their.
Here's the thing about it, right? This is a gaming podcast, right? It's about games. Who cares, right?
Who cares?
Listen, outside of gaming, I give 2 shits about what Sony's doing. I could care less about what Microsoft or Nintendo's doing. It's only about the games. That's all I care about. So when people hype up how much money Microsoft has, and I'm looking at it from the gaming aspect, that doesn't thrill me, because I'm like, you have limited amounts of money, and yet you're struggling worse than some,
Who said something about their money? I said they're Microsoft because of Windows, and Windows is everywhere, so they're putting their games on PC because of that.
How can you be the behemoth in everything else and you're the laughingstock of gaming? That shows you where their mindset lies. They don't really care, and it shows in the products they deliver, and it shows in what they're doing. Whereas Nintendo, right? Nintendo and Sony, gaming is their bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
If PlayStation dies, Sony as a corporation dies. If gaming dies for Nintendo, they don't do anything else.
Let me ask you something, Dirt.
A step further, Dirt. You've got the Windows Game Store, which was a failure. Yep. So now they're putting their games on Steam.
Yeah, but and they're still using the OS. people still have to use Windows.
They do, but check this out. Don't you think like
They already had Windows? Everybody's got a computer in their house.
Free. Windows free.
Hey, Phil Spencer said a couple years ago, not all games will from Xbox go to PC. Not all PC games will go to Xbox, and not all mobile. Blah blah blah. But he lied about that too, because every single Xbox game is going to PC, even if it doesn't make sense, and they force it a lot. I don't personally think Gears of War is a good fit for PC, and I think the sales continue to prove it. Right? They released Gears 4 on PC. It was dead right away. Gears 5 is already under 3,000 users on Steam. I can't imagine that it's very high on the Windows Store either. You know what I mean? Like, at what point do you like why not keep Gears exclusive?
The Gears 5 draw people to buy PC Ultimate Game Pass? Do we know those numbers?
No, they will never know those numbers.
We'll never know
because PC people aren't going to embrace that. PC players are not going to subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate. They're not. That's a console thing. If Microsoft wanted to be successful, like to Dirt's point, right? If Dirt is saying, well, Microsoft owns Windows, thus it is one of their platforms. If they were putting out quality exclusive content on Xbox and PC only and made a good application to compete against Steam, like the Windows Store wouldn't have been shit and it would have actually worked, then they would have been onto something. But that's not the mark. That's not who they want to cater to. They want to go the mobile route. They want to make shitty little games that people could consume for $1.99 or subscribe to Game Pass to play. They know guys on PC aren't going to do it. They pretty much got to give it away on console, and that app is trying to get up and running on mobile. I got it for the Android, the Game Pass app. You can't really do anything with it yet, but that's where they want. That's where
Impatient Fire. Hold on. Impatient Fire says PC gamers don't like subscriptions. This is true, but also I hate to point it out, but mobile phone gamers don't like subscriptions either.
That's true.
That doesn't bode well for Microsoft's plan to reach 2 billion people either. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem going forward. Kind of as we go along or whatever. But go ahead. I know somebody.
Captain Crunchy says in the chat, he goes, "Why is Windows Store still trash?" Captain, that's what I've been trying to say. That it all kind of, whether we're talking about the way games are released or what happened this generation or what's going on with these newly acquired studios and there's no crunch. Here's a company that Dirt made a great point, and I mean, we've all said this a million times as well. Microsoft is a software leader in the world, and they can't even mimic a Steam. Epic comes out of nowhere. There was articles upon articles a year ago, 2 years ago. Nothing can stop the locomotive known as Steam, right? All of a sudden, Epic's like, well, we're just going to lower the price by like $13. Off goes that locomotive, blew it right off the caboose. That's over, right? So what I'm trying to say is you have all these things. Microsoft doesn't have the leadership. I don't know why they don't have that oomph. They don't have that gusto. They don't have that hustle. And that's the problem. You see it all the way through. Now, when you look at Gears 5, the reason you see such quality put into that is, again, it's Rod Ferguson. Unbelievable passion from this guy. Like, he's like, to me personally, if you look at all the game studios or any of the executives, Rod's the only one out there that, like, he takes offense if you make fun of the game. Everything else you say something about, they're like, I don't care. All the shit talk that went on from Halo and this and that, no one from 343 took offense. They're like, oh, we know we got to do better. We got to do better. I'm sorry, we'll do better. I mean, Rod doesn't take that shit, So what I'm saying to you is when you look at the Windows Store and you're like, why isn't it doing so well? Nobody knows the actual technical answer because none of us work there. But I mean, at the same time, we would be like, myself personally, from the outside looking in, there's no passion. Like, we'll fix it one day. They never do.
Hey, shout out Red Dragon because he made this tweet about Microsoft's numbers. I thought it was funny, so I'll share it with everybody. He says Microsoft is hiding numbers because they're playing 6D chess and don't want their competitors to know just how successful they are. Oh, Lord. And I find that to be quite humorous because all day today I heard how Microsoft was living in 3019 and they were actually the market leaders and all this stuff. Like, I guess in Bizarro world where selling 28,000 consoles a month compared to almost 200,000 your competition and not having another exclusive AAA game for 15 months is a good thing. But at the end of the day, I don't look at that as a good thing as an Xbox consumer.
Real quick, Crap. Let me give a shout out.
Go ahead, man.
Let me give a shout out real quick to my man Crispy. He put something in the chat there. He's saying it takes 6 years for Sony to make an exclusive, you know, and Microsoft 2.5 years. The big difference is, you're right, that's true, but the quality shows, because the bugs that are in Gears 5 are unacceptable for as brilliant as the game is, and I'll give it its props. But that 8.5 that it got, or that 85 on Metacritic, is very well deserved, because the game has a lot of bugs, dude. A lot, like boss fights that glitch, and you can't even shoot the boss. You got to reload. You get stuck in the environment. There are things that with time wouldn't have been there, that prevented that game from being the 9 that it could have been, or even possibly the 10. And the game is awesome, but it has a lot of bugs. So it shows, man. The quality shows, and that's the difference.
Well, let me check this out too. Okay, you want to talk about time? With Crackdown 3 took over 5 years to develop and was utter crap.
Oh, but they were wearing hula skirts and lighting candles and sipping on lattes. So yeah, if you're doing that for 5 out of the 7 years, you're gonna get a piece of crap of a game.
Exactly, 100%. Elliot says, crap, you might think mobile gamers don't like subscriptions, but I bet you Apple Arcade does pretty well. I disagree. I mean, I think that Apple has like these diehard fans, but I think that people want to play free-to-play games on mobile, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Candy Crushes and that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that nobody will use it at all, but I'm just saying for the majority of people, they just want to play something that's free or whatever.
Well, don't forget though, crap, you're not doing apples for apples, okay? The mobile function of Apple Arcade, those games are built for what? The phone.
Yeah.
What Microsoft's trying to say is they're trying to say The Witcher 3 should be played at, on the go. And that's not necessarily, that was your argument all the time, is do I want to play Doom Eternal? Do I want to play Witcher 3 at the bus stop or in the airport? Maybe not. Probably not. Right? Yeah. You're only waiting
most people play
25, 30 minutes for the airplane to show up, or an hour. Like at the same time, all the Apple Arcade games for $4.99 unlimited, you're getting that's built for that device. That device was built for that game. Where in this case, these games are built for your monitor, TV, sitting down for a long time. Look at these games. Borderlands is 40 hours. Like, that's 40 hours, guys. Like, imagine how much time that would take at the airport. Yeah. Who's flying around that much?
Well, if you're going to a rooftop party, you just take your Switch.
Well, absolutely. But in New York, it's freezing, and the rooftops are 150 stories high.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
we're not doing that here.
Listen, that's all I'm saying is that I understand mobile makes money. I'm not trying to deny that. I'm saying that it makes money from only 3 out of 10 people spend money, and they're not buying games. They're doing microtransactions.
I think Apple Arcade is a different conversation. I don't think you can put Apple Arcade in the same conversation. Those games are literally designed to play for possibly minutes or maybe 30 minutes at a time. It's made for mobile gaming.
Those games,
exactly my point. So that's all I was saying, because I got in an argument, like, people just are insistent that I'm a dinosaur, and maybe so, but they're just like, if things are working and PlayStation's selling 100 million, and probably the Switch will sell 100 million, and they're doing more traditional stuff and exclusive games, and that's why they're doing well, then maybe that's the way to do it, right? Maybe Microsoft's way isn't the right way. Has anybody ever really kind of took the time to consider that maybe not everything has to be a service, maybe not everything has to go that way? You know what I mean? If in my opinion, Microsoft should have, I'm fine. Like, obviously they packed it in. It does suck when you think that we've gotten our last AAA exclusive of this generation, and you look over the fence and you see both the Switch and PS4 getting a ton more exclusives. And we're done with getting our exclusives already, and we got the least out of any console generation I can even think of. And it pisses me off to no end when that's the way it is. But it's just like, Microsoft kind of made their own bed, and they kind of like just said, hey, you guys, we're gonna pack it in, and maybe it wouldn't have been so bad, but it's like they don't even care about the console at all. It's just Game Pass. That's it. And they're kind of transitioning into that, but there's still people that'll go out there and tell they really do care about the console. Like, show it. How come their last 2 E3s were infomercials for Game Pass if they really care about the consoles? Clearly there's something amiss there or whatever. But anyway, I've taken up 2 hours. Please hit the like button if you're still here. I would appreciate it. Mooch, what do you got going on this week?
Well, we got Crossfire, 7 p.m. Eastern time on the Mooch 78 on YouTube. And then we've also got, I will be streaming I haven't decided yet. I did Borderlands 3 yesterday. I might either do Borderlands or Gears 5.
Don't do Gears 5. Nobody wants to see that crap.
Oh, crap.
Sorry, I'm just joking. Just joking. Just joking.
Let me finish my plug.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Twitch.tv, the Mooch78 guys. Go over there and definitely please do hit the follow button. It means a lot. And we'll see you guys this weekend. It'll be great.
Absolutely. Knox, what do you got going on, man? Because I know you got to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, I got a boogie on over to work, man. Nothing much, man. Trying to finish Gears. I'm up to the. I'm at the end. I'm at Act 4. I think I'm on the last mission, or at least the one right before it. So I want to finish that up, and then nothing much, man. Just working and
pretty good, pretty neat, man.
That's it.
Nice to hear it. Dirt, what do you got going on, man?
Well, check out my channel for the few Xbox guys in the chat. And since Crap didn't talk about Kojima today, I made a video about Kojima. Check that out. And
we ran out of time, man.
Check out the podcast.
Even Dirt is talking about Kojima. He has all this, Death Stranding has all this attention and marketing. Yeah, man, you gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Yes, but check out my channel, and I'm about to do a podcast called Scram Punks. Check it out, y'all.
Absolutely. And also, J-Dubs, thank you so much for joining us on this momentous day. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at JDubCity16. You can find me on my YouTube channel at JDub. Also, on Sundays, check me out on the Best Damn Podcast, period. Actually doing a really big giveaway, so you guys might want to check that out.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to thank once again Sully for helping run the OBS and stuff like that. Thank you so much, Sully. I appreciate it. You guys all rock in the chat. We've had some good discussions here. Again, it's just all opinions. And man, I mean, I like the back and forth. If you guys are just happier with somebody that's just gonna kiss your ass all the time and whatever, sunshine and rainbows, that's fine with me. If you want people to do a little bit of both, then I think that's more of my style, man. If they do something good, if they announce some great games, I'm there. I'm happy about it. But in my opinion, wasn't a great day for Xbox. But we love you. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Rack 'em up. Peace out. Later. Have a good night.
Peace.